Alright guys, for today's video I just wanted to kind of explain what this channel is all about. So Bucket 38 Racing, first off the name, Bucket is my nickname. I grew up, my brothers and sisters called me Buckethead because I used to run around with a bucket on my head. But yeah, I kind of shortened it down later in life to Bucket. Nobody really calls me by it, but I just kind of self-adopted it. And it just kind of stuck. So yeah, that's where the name Bucket comes from. Bucket 38 Racing started as kind of just what I called my racing team, doing demolition derbies. I just noticed that everybody else doing demolition derbies had a racing name. So yeah, so I figured I needed a racing team name, and so I came up with Bucket 38 Racing. Basically, it's my nickname. 38's my number. Basically, 38 is my two favorite NASCAR drivers, or were. 3 being the legendary Dale Earnhardt. Of course, if you like Dale Earnhardt, you have to like Dale Earnhardt Jr., which when I was watching him, mainly he was number 8, driving the Bud car. And so those two numbers, I just kind of put them together. 3 and 8, 38. It's kind of been my lucky number for as long as I can remember. Yeah, Bucket 38 Racing. So as far as the YouTube channel goes, so I started it. So basically, I've been into demolition derbies my whole life. My dad has been into them. He's never drove in them, but he's always had people that had cars in them. He's always sponsored them. My brother drove for a few years, and I would help him build the cars. I would go over and help him strip them out, get the windows, get all the parts off of them, and watch the process of building them. And so yeah, so it's kind of been a family affair for pretty much my whole life. We moved and kind of stepped away from that for a little while, and I finally found a car for my first derby car. It was a 1993 Ford Mustang, Fox body Mustang. And before anybody gets mad at me, the car was junk. It had an inch of Bondo on the quarters. There was not a straight body panel on this car, and it only had the little 2.3 4-cylinder in it. So it was kind of gutless car. It was only running on, I think, 3 cylinders. Built it up way tougher than I needed to. I had a 6-inch square tube on the front, big I-beam on the back, but I was just overbuilding because I was building it as a figure 8 car, because back then at what is now Dixie Destruction, it was just the Washington County Fair. Back then they did the figure 8 races. There's a couple of them videos of the Iron County one, but they no longer do it here at the Washington County Fair. So I overbuilt this car, but it didn't run for nothing. I did solid suspension all the way around, and it just was garbage for the figure 8. But I kind of got hooked back into it, and it was my first car. And the Honda Civic that I think is the first video on this channel. It was after it was painted blue. But before that, I had ran it in 2 derbies. It was green. And I didn't have a GoPro or any type of camera at that time. So I didn't, that's not on the channel because I didn't film it. So we ran the 2 derbies. We ran Washington County Fair, and then we went up to Iron County. And then I finally won this GoPro in a raffle at my work. And I immediately knew I want to put this inside my car, because that would be such a cool shot to film inside a derby car. So I'm kind of going off on a tangent on the derby side, but basically it just, something about derby just gets in your blood, and once you do it, you can't step away from it. And I took a year off just because I was kind of discouraged by it, and I felt lost. I felt like I needed to be doing something, and now we're back at it. We ran this fresh car just recently. That's basically how I got into derby and how I'm in derby now. That's what Bucket 38 Racing started as. So I basically just wanted to make a derby channel. And one of the big channels that I gravitated to was Easy Does It Racing, Paul Cox. Some of you guys might know him as Fab Rats. I saw him derby a truck the first year we moved down here, and found out who he was, and he was the guy. He was the one that you wanted to see. So I seen that you could make videos about Demolition Derby and put them up on YouTube, and people would watch them. It was cool to watch. So I was like, I want to be good enough that I can make my own derby videos, own GoPro footage, and put it up on YouTube. And I didn't have a good computer, didn't have all this stuff, and I just kind of pushed it to the back burner, kept pushing it. And finally, this year, we finally got a new computer, got some stuff set up that I could start editing videos. I started figuring it out. So in my first videos, you guys have noticed there is a little bit of a watermark down in the corner. I have to pay for the editing software before I can get rid of that, which I don't have the means to pay for that at this moment. But hopefully soon I can get that off of there. Just, it's kind of annoying. It doesn't really hurt the video, but it's just kind of annoying being there. Derby is only part of what I do. I pretty much like to work on anything. From bicycles to Power Wheels to go-karts. I've got a trike in the backyard that I built from scratch with a little lawnmower motor on it. But we've got quite a few projects just kicking around, and derby is only part of the year. There's only 3 derbies that I try to make it to every year. There's Washington County Fair, Dixie Destruction, that happens in April. And then there is the Iron County Fair in Parowan, Utah, that happens in August. And then there is Halloween Havoc that happens in Ogden, Utah in October. Those are the 3 that I try to make it to, if nothing else. Most of the other ones around Utah, they've kind of phased out the mini cars, which I haven't said that, but basically that's all I can afford to build right now is mini cars. I would love to run with the big guys in the full-size cars, but they have way too much money for me to be playing with them. They've already told me if you come out with a half built car, um, you're gonna get taken out. There's there's no chance that you're gonna even get close. Um, how they used to run cars was you just stripped them out, weld them up, and run it. Nowadays, it's $10,000 motors, $15,000 motors, $10,000 transmissions, multi-thousand-dollar rear ends. Um, they're building these cars with brand new steel for the cages, and I just can't spend that kind of money on a derby car. um, I would love to be able to, but that would be taking money away from my family, and I just can't justify it. So with the mini cars, I find all my steel in the scrap piles. It's just whatever I can find, round tube, square tube, whatever. That's a little bit about the why we run mini cars, but it's just cost effective. So basically, that's what Bucket 38 Racing started as a YouTube channel to just kind of film what I was doing. I never filmed any of the building of the cars, um, but like I said, I didn't have any way to edit videos or anything like that. So I'm starting to get more into that. So basically, back to the point of there's only 3 derbies a year that I try to go to, and so the rest of the year, I'm constantly working on stuff. Um, Constantly working with my hands. I love working with my hands, fixing stuff. Um, and so instead of having dead points in the YouTube channel between derbies, and I want to film more about building the cars and stuff like that, show you guys that part, um, a little bit more in depth of how I build it with the minimal tools that I have. I don't have a big fancy shop. I don't have the nice tools. I don't have all the nice equipment that some of these shops have. And yet I'm still able to put a car together and get out there. But I like fixing stuff. I like working on stuff. Um, my whole life I've been into old Chevy trucks. Got my first short bed Chevy when I was 17. Um, Traded a 96 Dodge Neon for it with a slipping transmission. Um, and so there's a whole project behind that truck. And I kind of want to show you guys that part of my life as well, not just the derby side. Is I love old trucks. I love old cars. I love working on cars. As much as I love smashing the newer stuff, because nobody cares about a 90s car. Some people do, but I don't. I I think they're ugly cars. Some of them are pretty cool, but most of them are just they don't look good. And so, as much as I'm perfectly fine smashing a car like this, some of the guys that smash some of these '60s cars and stuff like that, um, it kind of hurts watching them derby those kind of cars. But it's all in the lifestyle. Some people are okay with it. Some people aren't. Um, but I like fixing the older stuff and working on old cars and stuff like that. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge um, in a lot of like the deep mechanical stuff. I'm not a mechanic. I've never claimed to be a mechanic. Um, I'm just really good with my hands. I am mechanically inclined, but I don't see myself as a mechanic. A mechanic is somebody that can diagnose anything on any car and fix it. I can't do that. Some stuff I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'll give it a shot because that's just how I am. I would rather figure it out and try to fix it than take it to somebody else and say, hey, I don't know how to do it, you do it. I would rather try to fix it myself. Some stuff, um, it's easier just to take to other people, but um, I want to get better at what I do. And yeah, so that's kind of what this channel, I want it to be, is based around all my stuff. Where it's some of it's derby, some of it's working on old trucks, some of it's working on the kids' toys, Power Wheels. Um, I've swapped a couple Power Wheels over to the DeWalt battery and ran them on 20 volts. The kids love them, but it burns up the batteries really fast. I killed all my DeWalt batteries, and I'm down to one. So um, it's probably not the best to be doing, but it's fun while it lasts. I like little go karts and stuff like that. Um, I've got a couple little go kart projects kicking around, but yeah, pretty much anything that's working with my hands, I love to do, and I want to share that with you guys through this YouTube channel. Um, and if you guys will hang out with me, we might have a little bit of fun. But I think that's it. Explaining what is Bucket 38 racing. Um, that's what it is to me. And hopefully it can become something for you too. We'll see you on the next one.